Sexy Sadie was born out of one of the strangest and most uncomfortable episodes in the history of the Beatles. It was the band's 1968 stay in Rishikesh, India, where they had gone to study transcendental meditation with a Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. By Lennon's own later account, he wrote it while packing to leave, with the bad feeling of that departure still fresh. Unlike a lot of Beatles songs that blur memory, character, and imagination, this one was rooted in a real moment, or at least in Lennon's very real reaction to what he believed had happened. The original target wasn't hidden at all. Lennon first framed it as "Maharishi, what have you done?", making the song a direct attack on the spiritual leader he had felt had let him down.
Sexy Sadie, what have you done?
What makes the story more complicated is that the accusation behind the fallout was disputed almost immediately, with later accounts from people around the band suggesting the rumor may have been pushed or distorted by Magic Alex rather than clearly established as fact. So the emotional core of the song is real, but the incident that triggered it sits in one of those murky zones where the anger arrived faster than the certainty. But the title change is one of the song's best details. George Harrison recalled that Lennon was already singing the song on the way to Delhi under its original name, and Harrison told him he could not say that outright. So Harrison suggested Sexy Sadie, which Lennon adopted. And that one change turned a blunt accusation into something nastier and smarter, because it disguised the song just enough to get it onto the White Album while keeping the poison intact. It also gave the song that unsettling contrast between its almost graceful melody and the contempt sitting underneath it. And the recording history shows that the Beatles didn't just knock it out and move on. They first tackled it on July 19, 1968, but the session produced nothing really usable, even after 21 takes. One of those abandoned early attempts did later surface on Anthology 3.
Sexy Sadie, what have you done?
They tried again on July 24th, then finally built a released version through more work in August, finishing it in a marathon session on August 21st that ran into the next morning. By the end, the track had picked up the piano, bass, organ, tambourine, backing vocals, and even an internal edit that cut a chunk from the long ending before release on the White Album. The lyrics of the song are basically John Lennon turning disappointment into sarcasm, because on the surface, the song sounds almost elegant and dreamy, but the words are aimed at someone he felt had fooled people and abused their trust. As I stated, it is a little bit murky, but what Maharishi was believed to have done, at least in John Lennon's view at the time, was behave in a sexually inappropriate way toward one of the women in the Beatles' circle during the 1968 India trip, which is what set off the anger behind the song. Lennon later described confronting Maharishi before leaving, and the song began as a direct accusation aimed at him. But this is where the story gets tricky, because later accounts from Paul McCartney and others suggest the allegation may have been based on rumor, exaggeration, or misinformation rather than something clearly proven. So it's not really accurate to state as settled fact that Maharishi definitely committed the act Lennon suspected. Safer and more factual way to put it is that Lennon believed Maharishi had acted dishonestly and sexually improperly. And he wrote the song out of that disgust, and later history has left the underlying accusation disputed rather than confirmed. This is what makes Sexy Sadie more fascinating than just the Beatles wrote a song about the Maharishi. It captures John at a moment when spiritual idolism had curdled into suspicion, and instead of writing a sermon or a rant, he turned the whole mess into one of the White Album's smoothest and most cutting songs. Even the finished record carries that tension. It's pretty on the surface, bitter underneath, and shaped by a real rupture that the band itself later viewed with some doubt and regret. In the end, Sexy Sadie is not just gossip set to music. It's the sound of John realizing that even enlightenment can come with ego, rumor, and fallout.